In this section, we're going to be talking about the courses in your Moodle installation. The first thing you should do is actually to set up your default course settings. So we'll click on that here. Opens up the page. Your default setting, you may want them to show immediately. If you're going to be working on these for a long time, you might want to hide your courses until you're ready to release them. That determines whether they're going to appear in the catalog. People can still work on a hidden course. The next section is the format. You've got topics, single activity format, social, and weekly. The most common used in universities is topics or a weekly format. I prefer the topics because it lets you do a backup and use the same course next year easily. Whereas if you use the weekly format, you are going to have to change the dates for each week. Maximum number of sections, you can set this to whatever you want. I've never seen anyone reach 52 sections as the default. The starting sections that you give your instructors can be any number. 4 is good. They can always add to it. There's a simple button at the bottom of each course section, so you can add a new section. This part lets you either hide sections as collapse form or make all the sections completely visible. Again, this can be changed in this system setup for each individual course. Course layout, show all sections on one page or only show one section per page. The one section per page is actually easier for most people to navigate because it doesn't have to load this long scroll. This will be easier for people, but sometimes you want all the sections to show so that people can move around freely. Course end date enabled by default. That's usually a year away. You can turn that on or off. It doesn't matter. Your instructor is going to have to make any edits that are involved with it. Duration of 365 days. This is a spot where if you keep this as a default to have the end date enabled, you may want to do it on a semester level so that it would be 90 days, 120 days, 180 days, whatever works best for you. Forcing the language, I don't recommend this, but you can force it to a specific language. Announcements, if you want announcements set up as a default, again, your instructor can change this in any course. So setting a default is just a recommended starting point. Showing the gradebook to students, the default is yes. I encourage that. Showing activity reports, the default is set at no. I usually change mine to yes. Maximum file upload, this is going to be dictated both by the system and by your Moodle environment when you set it up. Make sure your servers have sufficient space to handle large uploads, and realistically I recommend going much higher than 8 megabytes. If they're going to be allowed to upload any multimedia files, this should probably be at least half a gigabyte. Completion tracking, yes, you want to be able to let people see when they've completed the criteria for an item in a course. And whether or not you want to set up groups or not, I don't set it up as a default. I let the instructors choose that, and you can force whether or not people have to be in a group. When you're all done, click Save Changes, and you've just configured your default settings for creating courses.